Hello, and welcome to Markers and Monsters. As usual, I am your host, Colin, and today we're going to be drawing this weird, big, bizarre, alien brain creature thing. I don't know. Did you ever have that thing where you sit down in front of a blank piece of paper with no real plan in mind and just, I don't know, something weird comes out? Yeah, this was one of those times. I don't know where this idea came from, but it just kind of popped into my head and I drew it out. And it didn't really come to me at any point in time until I had the paper in front of me. Once the paper was there and I'm like, what am I going to draw? This just kind of spewed out. So kind of weird, but a lot of fun too. I think I have a thing with drawing eyeballs. I've noticed that over doing these videos. I draw a lot of weird monster eyeballs. I don't know. This guy is covered in eyes and mouths and tentacles and all kind of freaky weird stuff. So, is he an alien? Are we on another planet? Are we on Earth? Was this thing summoned? Did this thing arrive here? Is it intelligent? I don't know. You guys can answer those questions yourself because I don't have any answers for you. So, I just kind of started drawing this blobby thing, covered in eyeballs and whatnot. I wanted to do all the eyes in different colors. I thought that would be kind of neat. Add a little bit of chaotic flair to the creature. So that's what I'm doing right now, as you can see. Down below, there's like a little bit of landscape, and then there's some person there, and they appear to be chained up. So I don't even know what that's about. Are they a sacrifice for this creature? Were they, just put here so this creature can eat them? Probably that's what I'm guessing. But again, I don't know. These questions and many more will probably never be answered, so enjoy. So right now I'm just kind of outlining it and then putting in with the mahogany here, just the little bits of the brain. I'm kind of keeping the shadow area there down to the lower left, so that's a little bit darker than the other places, and keeping it real loose and real organic. We've talked about that before a bunch, that's a lot of fun to do. You can be kind of messy and sloppy, and that's what I'm doing here. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a minute and talk about brains in fiction, especially in like movies and TV, places like that. You've got the movie The Brain from the 80s, which is crazy, and that's about a gigantic killer brain that comes after some guy. You've got The Brain from Planet Eris from the 50s. Is one of those kind of 50s monster movies with a giant alien brain with kind of like two eyes down there at the at the bottom, and that attacks people. A great 50s monster movie, if you're in the mood for that kind of thing, is Fiend Without a Face, which is from I think 58 or 59, late 50s. But that's a really cool one, and the brains are not giant in the movie. They're like regular sized brains, but they're from another dimension or something. They're invisible at first. And I'm going to spoil this whole movie for you, so enjoy that. They're invisible at first, and they're killing people in the countryside near Air Force Base up in Canada. And they can't figure out, what's causing this. Well, they find out that on the base there's some kind of like radio signal that is being broadcast that is causing these creatures to be invisible. They're somehow like attaching themselves to this signal to remain completely impervious to sight or whatever. So the Air Force shuts off the signal, and it turns out that these things are like regular brains, except they've got little antennas coming off that wiggle around, and then they've got like the spinal cord is still attached, and they use that kind of like a worm or a snake, like to push themselves along the ground, and they use the spinal cord to like fling themselves at people and kill them. It's awesome. They're using the spinal cords to like choke people to death. And at the end, there's this big shootout scene where the military guys are just blasting these things, and it's stop motion, but these things kind of like blow up and they leak guts everywhere. It's really awesome. And for a 50s monster movie, which usually is tame in terms of the blood and the gore, yeah, Fiend Without a Face, it actually brings it at the end. It's pretty great. Then you've also got, other brains. They maybe not be like killers, but they're important in some way to the story. You've got from Star Trek, Spock's brain. That's the story where they steal Spock's brain, and it leaves him with only 24 hours to get it back before he dies. So there's a lesson for you guys. If somebody rips your brain out of your head, you've got about a day to get it back. So no rush or anything. It's only your brain. From Doctor Who, The Brain of Morbius is a great Fourth Doctor episode where he goes to, I can't remember the planet's name, but there is an ex-Time Lord named Morbius who was executed for horrible Time Lord crimes, and only his brain has remained, and he has a kind of a mad scientist type guy that is collecting different alien body parts to make him like a Frankenstein body to stick this brain in, or stick the brain in, so Morbius can continue his like Time Lord crime spree or whatever. That's pretty awesome. You've got The Brain That Wouldn't Die, another 50s monster movie, often considered one of the worst monster movies of all time. This doesn't really involve a brain, but instead like a head that wouldn't die and severed heads that are still alive. That is an entire another genre. So I guess we won't talk about The Brain That Wouldn't Die too much there because, no brain, really. I guess the brain's in the head, but it doesn't count. If there's a skull, doesn't count for this discussion. But yeah, that's a fun one. Donovan's Brain. Classic D&D type monsters. You got a brain in a jar, which uses its mental powers to hurt people, or even like charm them, or dominate their minds, take them over. So that's always a fun thing to do. Another D&D monster are the Grell, which that is actually like a big brain with tentacles hanging down and kind of like a crazy bird's beak. And they're intelligent aberrations that come after you, and their MO for their entire lives to like eat as much stuff as they can, so they can wrap you up in tentacles, eat you with their bird beaks. So that's pretty cool. I always like those monsters. So we're here at the inking process. As you can see, I did kind of this like purple, lavender, lilac sky. I thought it would be relatively close to a blue, a common, but kind of different enough that you could say, oh, is this a different planet or a different plane of existence, or what's going on here? Again, no answers for you. So yeah, enjoy. This is the no answers episode. I also decided that with some of the eyeballs, the middle part, the what is that? The pupil, iris, whatever. That would be round for some people, like a normal eye, or for some of these eyes, it would be round like a normal eye, and for others, like that one in the middle, it would be horizontal like a goat or frog's eye. Yeah, if you ever look at a goat's eyeball, it's got that weird flat iris in the middle. It allows it to see like a panoramic view to look out for predators. It's kind of freaky, and I thought freaky is good for this drawing, so that's what I'm doing. All right, looking like the inking's coming along nice. Like I said, this just kind of came to me all on a whim, and it came together pretty quick. I had no like game plan for it, or I didn't have an image in my head that I wanted it to become or anything like that. I just kind of started slapping color down, and boom, this thing rolled out. So I don't know what that says about my mental state, but hey, there you have it. All right, just finishing up some of the outlines here. Now, one thing that I don't like to do when doing these is like those clouds in the background there. There doesn't need to be a ton of ink in the background. The ink really stands out, especially the areas that are just like solid black colors. They really pop out of the image, and so you want the star of the show, that is this brain creature here, whatever you're drawing in focus, to really come out. So if you kind of leave your background devoid of those inks or whatever, then that can help. Now, if you want a very detailed background, yeah, you can add in the inks, but then I would recommend having the creature on top be relatively less detailed. We've kind of talked about this before. If you have something with light colors in front of dark colors, it's going to pop out. If you have something that's dark colors in front of light colors, it's going to pop out. It goes with texture too. If you have something that's got a lot of texture, put it in front of a background with very little texture, and vice versa. Same with things that are very detailed. If you have a ton of detail in the foreground, like this brain guy's got tons of little wrinkles and lines and all kind of stuff on him, then keep the background relatively plain, and he's going to pop out a whole lot more. All right, looking good. I think it's turning out pretty good. I hope you guys dig it. I'm just putting on some highlights here now, and then looking pretty good. We're going to take a look here at the scan as soon as I finish up. And here we go. Sign the name. Awesome. All right, there's a scan. I kind of corrected the colors a little bit digitally just so that when you scan it, they tend to kind of go flat a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and I hope you guys have liked it. Well, I know I've had a great time this episode. I'm glad you guys joined me and listened to me rant on about brains and all kind of weird stuff for a while. So pretty great. Check me out on my website, social media, chat with me, comment, subscribe, share these videos around if you want. It's all good. We're just here to have a good time, and I'm so glad you guys have joined me. All right, that's it for this week. I'm Colin. I'll see you on the next episode of Markers and Monsters.